2020 Republic Tiger Sports Awards and Hall of Fame induction. I'm David Brazil, and we're going to try to do something a little different tonight. I've got some videos to show you, I've got some photos, and we're going to honor some of the kids who had great years in the fall and the winter. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the kids who lost their spring seasons, especially the seniors who didn't get to play. There were 5 sports in the spring, obviously, that didn't happen because of the pandemic. And so we'll touch on them and talk about the spring sports a little bit along the way. And we'll also honor one of the greats from Republic Tiger sports history. That's Tony Logan, a member of the 1963 state championship basketball team. He'll be the 3rd member of that team to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for Republic Tiger sports. But before we get going on that, I want to start off with honoring some all-state players and basically anybody who made All-State throughout the season. We're going to talk about them, and we've got some state qualifiers to recognize as well. And we'll start off with Hayden Moody. Hayden was named to 2 All-State teams, one by the media, one by the coaches, and he was a big part of an offensive line, and you'll see some of his handiwork a little bit later on, because you're going to see a lot of highlights with huge holes opening up on the front line, and the offensive line was a big part of the offensive success for the Tigers this year on the football field, and Hayden Moody, as an All-State player, was one part of that. Next All-State athlete to honor is Caitlin Ragsdale, and this is Caitlin's 2nd All-State recognition. She was All-State as a sophomore, now All-State as a junior in softball, and she's got another season to go. She's got plenty of mentions later on in the program, and we're going to honor her tonight for some of the things that she has done throughout the year. Next All-State player is Jonathan O'Connell, and John made it All-State for a 3rd time this year. It was his 3rd year in a row as an All-State wrestler. He finished 4th in the top class, and it was the first time that a Republic wrestler had ever earned a medal in the state's top class at the state tournament. So after being runner-up in Class 3 2 years in a row, he was a Class 4 4th place finisher this year. And the final All-State player to recognize is Cayman Beckemeyer, the freshman who caught fire after joining the starting lineup midway through the season. She averaged 15 points a game for the season, but she averaged almost 20 a game after she joined the starting lineup. And she was one of only 2 freshmen to earn All-State recognition in Class 5. And the thing that stood out to her, she did a lot of post-game interviews after the game on our post-game show, always giving credit to her teammates throughout the year. Didn't matter how many points she scored or what kind of a game she had, she was always pointing to everybody else and giving them the credit for the success that she had. And we'll hear a little bit about her and see one of her big performances later on tonight. And we'll also have plenty from her in the next 3 years coming up. State qualifiers, and these are athletes who qualified for the state tournament in their particular events. And the first state qualifiers are Hannah Morgan and Katie Stiles, and they made it in doubles in tennis. And Hannah and Katie had not played together in doubles all year. They were paired up when the playoffs came around, as Dan Vallis kind of shuffled the lineup a little bit. And they not only went through sectionals and made it 2 sectionals, but they went all the way to the state tournament. We'll hear from them a little bit later on as well. Next state qualifier is Wyatt George. He finished just off the medal stand, and it was his 2nd time making it to state. And he just fell a little bit short this year as he lost in the bubble match that determines whether you get a medal or not. He lost that match by 1 point, and just that close to earning his 2nd medal after medaling last year. Next state qualifier to recognize is Miha Nambara. She finished 50th in Class 4. She ran a 19:38 at the state meet, and that was 4 seconds off her personal best, which she set at sectionals the week before, so she was really peaking at the right time. She was 23rd in the state in Class 4 among underclassmen, and she was the first state qualifier in 8 years for Republic on the girls cross-country team. Megan Hergesheimer and Kayla Bartlesmeyer both did it in 2012. So Mihan Ambara makes it to the state meet in cross-country. In golf, 2 state qualifiers in girls golf last fall, Clara Frauenbarger and Reagan Holmes. And they both shot their best rounds of the season at sectionals. It was an 84 for Frauenbarger and a 92 for Holmes. And they both were red hot in the first half of that sectional round, and then they ended up qualifying for state. Frauenbarger especially, she came back mid-season after suffering an injury last year, didn't even play a full season, still managed to qualify for state, so a great accomplishment for her. This is the first time since 2013 that Republic has taken 2 golfers to the state tournament. That year it was Bailey Rail and Bailey Cornelissen who both qualified. And then we've got some newcomers, and newcomers as far as the team is concerned, state qualifiers. And the first is boys swim and dive, and it's the brothers Dylan Murray and Justice Murray. They both qualified in diving, and they were the first athletes this year in the history of Republic swim and dive to qualify for the state tournament. Of course, it's a new program, and they made it the very first season. Justice finished 19th at state, Dylan 22nd, and talked to them before they went off to state, and I believe it was Dylan who told me they had talked about it all summer, talked about the opportunity to maybe take up diving when the fall came around, and then they end up being the first 2 from Republic to make it to the state meet. And then the girls were not about to be outdone because they sent 2 to the state meet as well. Carissa Metzger and Maddie McRae both qualified for state, and they both earned points at the state tournament. McRae finished 11th in the 200 individual medley. She beat her personal best time in that race at state by 0.61 seconds, so a great race for her in the 200 individual medley. Metzger finished 11th in the 100 breaststroke. She also was 16th in the 200 individual medley, and Republic finished 33rd in the team standings in Class 1, so a great inaugural season for the swim team, both the boys and the girls, and the girls end up earning points in 2 events in their first state tournament. So now we're going to transition a little bit off of that, and we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, the spring seniors. Of course, spring has, the sports were canceled, and 32 seniors on 5 different teams did not get to play their final seasons. They will get to play one last time on June 29th. The Central Ozark Conference has scheduled an event for all 5 sports on June 29th, and so they will be out there, not kind of all-star game style, where you're going to combine seniors from different teams and they will play each other. Baseball will actually play 2 games so they can get everybody in. That'll be played at Webb City. Soccer is, I forget where soccer is going to be played. I knew I shouldn't have mentioned that. Tennis is going to be in Republic, and then golf will be at Carthage. And there's one more sport I'm missing. Track is still up in the air. They're trying to determine kind of the interest among the athletes there. The Spring Seniors was a web series that I did this year on the website, republictigersports.com. But I also included that in the magazine, and that's what you see here on the screen. I've got a reprint of all 32 spring seniors, and something a little different because this magazine is interactive. It's online only because of everything going on with the virus, and so did not print this issue, but that lets me do some kind of interesting things. So throughout this issue there will be interactive elements, and on the spring seniors pages there are 4 pages, 4 spreads of spring seniors. All of those photos and the names in orange, if you click on those, once you have the magazine online, it'll take you to an archive of every article in which that senior has been mentioned throughout their careers on Republic Tiger Sports. So just a little bonus with the interactivity available on that on that format for the magazine. And that magazine it should be actually on the website now. It should have dropped right about the time we started the program. If it's not there, give it some time and we'll check it when we're done with this program. So spring seniors will be on the field on June 29th, at least those who can't participate, and it'll be nice to see them, and I'll have coverage of that. But you know that they had to be hurting when they lost their seasons, and we got tributes to them in this upcoming magazine. So we're going to turn our attention now to the plays of the year, the play of the year anyway, and we've got a couple of plays I wanted to point out who were kind of honorable mention along the way, and there were lots of great plays that did not get added video-wise to this. There was Clay White's interception and run back for a touchdown against Carl Junction, and several basketball plays, boys and girls, but I wanted to start with a defensive play, and this one is a defensive play by Emma White. This was the last regular season game for the Lady Tigers softball team, and this was against a very good Rogersville team, back and forth. It had been tied in the 7th inning and then ended up going into extra innings. Republic scored a couple of runs in the top of the 8th inning, and it was Emma White's defensive play that sealed the victory, and let's take a look at it. So Emma White ranged into the middle of the field, reached up, grabbed the line drive, and tying run was on third base. That would have possibly and would have definitely tied it and opened the door for Rogersville to win it, but Emma White's play saved the game. Here's one that you probably saw somewhere on social media. It is a play by Drew McMillan at the end of the 3rd quarter, also against Rogersville, coincidentally, and you're going to have to watch fast because you're not going to expect what happens if you haven't seen it. He's going to take the ball from one end of the court, and he's going to just heave it as far as he can because he knows time is about to expire at the end of the 3rd quarter, and so this is what happened. You can see everybody's disbelief as the ball goes in. It was an amazing shot and one of the memorable plays of the year. But the memorable play of the year and the winner of the Play of the Year award belongs to Savannah Powell-Goodman. She won the game at Jefferson City. Time was just about running out. There was a loose ball near half court. She tracked it down. She was about 30 feet from the basket. She realized she had to shoot, and she heaved it and made it. And it was the game winner for the Lady Tigers over state-ranked Jefferson City. They were ranked 3rd in the state in Class 5 at the time, so it was a huge win for the Lady Tigers. And this is the Play of the Year by Savannah Powell-Goodman. And one last thing, keep an eye on her face after she makes the shot. She doesn't believe she made it either. So congratulations to Savannah Powell-Goodman, Play of the Year for the Lady Tigers and for Republic Tiger Sports. Now we're going to turn our attention to, as I mentioned, one of the greats in the history of Republic sports, and that is Tony Logan. You'll see the inset over there on the left-hand side of the screen. That's the 1963 state championship basketball game against Bernie, Republic's first state championship and their only state championship for a long time on the boys' side until 2013, and it was 50 years later that Republic finally won a boys' state championship again. But Tony Logan was a big part of that team, a team leader on the court, and wanted to talk a little bit about him as we induct him into the Hall of Fame. Leland Brown, the coach of that team, says he remembers coaching an 8th grade game 4 years before that, so that was 1959. Republic was down by a point. Logan committed a foul, and everybody thought he'd fouled out. They had the count wrong. So he goes off to the bench. He's sobbing, and then the kid on the scorebook at the boys' club in Springfield said, "Wait a second, that's only 4 fouls. You can get back in there." So Logan went back in, and this is a quote from Leland Brown. That kid went back in, and he was sobbing, and they passed him the ball, and he hit a long shot and won the ball game. That's the kind of the way he was. He was a real leader. And while the big men inside, Don Carlson and Howard Arndt, got a lot of the attention, Brown said that Logan was the player that he trusted to make decisions on the court. When he got down to the end of the game, he said Tony always took care of it. And he tells the story of there was one game in particular. In 1963, Republic beat Ozark 4 times, and it was Ozark's only 4 losses. And Brown says by the last time they played them, he wanted to switch things up a little bit. And so he changed the defense, and he basically told Logan, hey, you get out there and make sure everybody is where they're supposed to be. And he did. They won that game, and they ended up going on and winning the state championship. Howard Arndt, who was another all-state player on that 63 state championship team, he was 2 years younger than Logan, but he was much taller, even with the age difference. And he said that Logan's competitive nature caused him to want to play one-on-one with Howard Arndt a lot of times, so he would get used to facing a taller opponent. And he said those games were very physical and required him to be very combative. He remembers one time in practice, he split Tony Logan's lip open with an elbow, or his eyebrow, not his lip. And rather than being mad, Tony congratulated him on playing tough. And he says, Howard Arndt says he remembers Tony as a good friend and the person who made me a better athlete. Tony Logan has passed away several years ago, but he is certainly a worthy inductee into the Republic Tiger Sports Hall of Fame, and he joins teammates Don Carlson and Howard Arndt in the Republic Tiger Sports Hall of Fame. He was an all-state basketball selection that year. He and Arndt were the 2 all-state selections from that championship. And as you're watching that video, if you're not too familiar, that is actually Price Elementary now. That was the high school then, but there's the front of Price Elementary where everybody is gathered, welcoming home the state champions. And that was the 1963 state championship. So congratulations to Tony Logan, our latest inductee into the Republic Tiger Sports Hall of Fame. And now it's time to honor 3 Special Olympics athletes. We do this every year. We ask the coaches to get together and select someone from the 3 different sports, bowling, basketball, and track, that Special Olympics competes in. And we've got those nominees here. And the first one in bowling is Ashlyn Ackerman. So congratulations to Ashlyn, the nominee from the bowling team for Special Olympics Athlete of the Year. In basketball, the nominee is Christopher Barnett. Congratulations to Christopher. And then even though there was no track this season, one athlete who excels in track and has in previous seasons is not only the track nominee, but the overall Special Olympics Athlete of the Year, and that is Josie Giramini. So congratulations to Josie. She, according to the coaches, Josie was a hard worker on and off the track, had a continuously upbeat attitude, and that is why she was nominated and won the prize of Special Olympics Athlete of the Year for 2020. So Next up, we have the Fan of the Year Award, and this is something that we've been doing since we started the awards. And I just wanted to recognize the kids that are not necessarily out there on the field all the time, but giving their support. But for the first time this year, we actually are honoring someone who was on the field or on the court quite a bit, and in practice and during games was just as supportive as a lot of the kids in the stands. And the winner of Fan of the Year is Whitney Weaver. I grabbed some pictures that I took of Whitney, whether she was playing softball or she was playing basketball, or she was in the stands cheering on the boys basketball team or the football team. She always had a smile on her face. It was great to see her around, and Whitney Weaver is a very deserving Fan of the Year. And I've got a little video. You'll see this a little bit later, this clip too, but watch the end of this clip. This is a district softball game, and Whitney's kind of in the foreground after I pan around and show the dugout going crazy after a hit by Caitlin Ragsdale. This will just give you an idea of what she is like, I don't know 24/7, but at least every time I've seen her at a game, this is what she's like. So congratulations to Whitney Weaver, our Republic Tigers Sports Fan of the Year, and it's been a pleasure seeing you around at the ball fields, at the courts, or wherever you've been. You've been a real contributor to Tiger Spirit. And speaking of Tiger Spirit, it's time for the Tiger Spirit Award, and this is an award that is meant to recognize one of the members of the supporting cast who made game nights so much fun. So we always get a nominee from the band, a nominee from the Tigerettes dance squad, and a nominee from the cheer team. And this year's nominees were Ethan Ragsdale for the Tiger Pride Band, Emma Collins for the Tigerettes, and Shannon Donahue for the cheerleading squad. And we have a vote online, and this year's winner of the Tiger Spirit Award is Shannon Donahue. So congratulations to Shannon. Samantha Foshi, the coach of the cheer squad, said that Shannon loved being on the sideline cheering the Tigers, but her true spirit was shown in practice. She was always there to lift up her teammates and push them towards their goals. And congratulations to Shannon on winning the Tiger Spirit Award, and another big contributor to Tiger Spirit throughout the season on the sidelines at football and basketball games. Now it is time to recognize our Scholar Athletes of the Year. And we've got a couple of these, one boy, one girl. And the first Scholar Athlete of the Year is Corey Norman. Corey is, he was academic all-state as a football player. He was a member of National Honor Society. Throughout his high school career, he did a little bit of everything: speech, FBLA, he played some golf, he participated in some other extracurriculars throughout the year, and he volunteers at the Springfield Botanical Garden, and he plans to attend Harvard University. He has, for a long time, his parents said he had thought MIT was where he might end up going, so he ends up going to Harvard. Not a bad second choice when you end up at Harvard, not at MIT. But congratulations to Corey, a real scholar athlete, and kind of a model for what you want a scholar athlete to be: involved in a lot of stuff and excelling at all of it. And on the girls' side, the Scholar Athlete of the Year is Riley Lobb. Riley has been a member of the softball team, obviously. She's been on student council and National Honor Society, also has participated in Key Club. She is a University of Missouri Curator Scholar. She received Mizzou's Doris B. Merritt Scholarship, and she will obviously, based on those scholarships, attend Mizzou this fall. Plans to study physical therapy, and another model of scholar athlete. And it's been a pleasure to see both of those kids around, and we wish them the best in their future. Riley Lobb and Corey Norman, our Scholar Athletes of the Year. So now it's time to look back at some of the records that have been broken over the past season, and there were a lot of great performances and records broken and milestones reached, and so we're going to go through some of those. And there are even more records than usual this year, even without spring sports, and that's because in swimming, every best time in every race was a record this year. So there was a lot of joking as the season started. At the first meet, everything was a record. At the second meet, there were fewer, but still a lot of records, and those records fell all year. And we'll start with the boys' swim team, where you can see all of the records listed there. I'm not going to go through them all. You can read them, pause them if you need to. But Bryce Martin and Seth Locke, with lots of the individual swim. They share all of the individual swim records there. And then the highest dive score belongs to Justice Murray at 368.30. Same thing on the girls' side. They had a lot of records and a lot of great performances. We already heard about Carissa Metzger and Maddie McRae. We've got the records, thanks to all the swim parents today who helped me out when I realized I hadn't gotten these ahead of time, and so we got them put together. But there are all the girls' records, and you can see on the individual races, Maddie McRae and Carissa Metzger own most of them. Quinn McRae owns the 100-yard backstroke record at 1:17:33. And so a great season, a great inaugural season for the Lady Tigers swim team. Another record that fell this year, it sort of fell. I think it already belonged to Caitlin Ragsdale. This is one, I've got a page with all the records on it, and this one wasn't one that had been tallied up to now, but I think since Caitlin Ragsdale broke the single season record in stolen bases as a freshman, and she broke what was the old record as a sophomore, I think we can assume she now has the career record for stolen bases. 109 career stolen bases for Caitlin Ragsdale in only 3 seasons, and that is a career record for Republic, and she'll have a chance to add to that. Hold on to your hats for this one, because we got a lot of records coming up from Lucas Hayes. He did this in a couple of games. He did it all season, and these are the records that he broke. He had 7 touchdowns in a game and did that against Ozark. He had 518 total yards between passing and rushing. He also had a reception in that game against Ozark to give him 518 total yards. Total yards for the season, he had 2,557. That's the most ever in Republic history. And he also had 32 total touchdowns, and those are rushing and passing touchdowns for a quarterback. So separate from a running back who might have receptions and actually scores the touchdowns. But 32 total touchdowns for a quarterback, a great season for Lucas Hayes, and we'll see a little bit more from him later on. Next record happened in a game I mentioned earlier, and that was the Lady Tigers game at Jefferson City when they beat the Lady Jays in a thriller. They came back from a huge deficit. They actually trailed by 14 points at one time in the second half, early in the second half of that one. They made 13 three-pointers in the game against Jefferson City, and 9 of those came in the second half, and that's another one of those that it's not a record written down, but I would think that 9.5 is probably pretty close to a record for the Lady Tigers. 3s in that game belonged to Jade Kirby, Jazzy Kirby, Savannah Powell-Goodman, Delaney Smith, Cayman Beckemeyer, and Caitlin Ragsdale. So 6 different players hit 3-pointers in that game, and they tied a previous record, which they had set at least one time. They had matched a record that they had hit 13 against Neosho down at Neosho a couple of years ago. Here is a record that is going to be tough to beat unless she beats it next year, and that is Jazzy Kirby. She drew 42 charges this year, and to give you some idea, the old record for a single season, the school record, was 20, and that was Annabelle last year. Jazzy Kirby drew 42 charges this season. To put it in some more context, 42 is now the career record. She did it in a single season. It's the career record at Republic. It's also third all time in a career, according to the state record book online, according to Misha. The all-time record is 56 in a career, and I think this is a record that hasn't been tracked for a long time. So there's still a lot of flux, but the single season record on the Misha record book is something like 24. So Jazzy almost doubled it in one season, and that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. And she turned the momentum a lot of times for the Lady Tigers throughout the season, and that was a big part of it. The next record we want to talk about is Race Looney. Race had 319 career assists, and that was a career record that had stood since 1988 when Kirk Grantham had something like 311. Race Looney passed him against Ozark late in the season, and he is now the all-time assist leader in Republic. So congratulations to Race Looney. His teammate on the same night passed a big milestone, and we want to touch on that, and that is Drew McMillan. He passed 1,000 career points that night, same night against Ozark, and they did it within a possession of each other. I told him after the game I wish they had done it on the same possession, Looney assisting McMillan. Didn't happen, but we do have a little bit of video after the game when they were able to talk about their accomplishments, and here it is.
On back-to-back possessions, Drew, you got your 1,000th career point. Race, you broke the career record for assists. So, Drew, I'll start with you because yours happened first. I don't know. What'd you think about the fact that you passed 1,000 for your career?
It's pretty exciting. On one of the free throws, me and Race were talking up here at half court. He said he's gonna get his, record-breaking assist to my 1,000th point. So
we were one off.
Yeah.
Well, you did get it on back-to-back because you went down and the next possession got the assist. Assists as a point guard, what do those mean to you, and how important are those to you?
It was a pretty cool deal, but at the end of the day, I've just had great teammates to play with who finished those shots because, they're the ones who got to make it. I just pass it to them. So it was very cool, but very thankful to have such good teammates to play with over the years.
Was it important, you think, to get a win tonight heading into districts?
Definitely. A lot of momentum. We feel great. Got a little time to prepare, but we feel really good.
All right. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So congratulations to those two. And one more milestone I wanted to touch on, and that is Bryce Martin. He became the first COC swim champion in Republic history. He won the 100-yard backstroke down at Webb City. It was the first ever COC swim meet because Republic joining and beginning to swim gave the COC enough teams to actually hold a championship, and Bryce Martin went down there and won the 100-yard backstroke and became the first ever conference champion in Republic swim and dive history, and so congratulations to him on that milestone. And now we're going to talk about some individual performances, and these are usually one-game performances or one tournament performances. I think everything here is one night, and the first one I want to talk about is the performance of Hannah Morgan and Katie Stiles, and it was their performance at state sectionals. This was a match that it was rain delayed, and it was at Cooper Tennis Complex. They ended up being chased indoors by the rain. By the time they finally got to play, it was late at night, and they gutted it out and ended up going to the state tournament. And as I mentioned earlier, they had never played doubles, at least this year, didn't play doubles all season until they got into the playoffs, and they ended up going to the state tournament. And we've got some words that I had with them after their big victory, and I love in this video how happy they obviously are that they have advanced to state.
Hannah Morgan, Katie Stiles are headed to the state tournament as they won their doubles sectional match tonight. And girls, you haven't played doubles together all season. What was it that, as you came together, you think made the difference and helped you get to state?
I think Katie and I have a strategy that we use, and our strategy, we come together in the middle and we talk about it, and if we mess up, we talk about what we did and we just come back from it. We know that every point we can do something more and get it back.
Katie, how big of an adjustment was it having to switch partners then when the playoffs started?
I don't feel like that much of an adjustment because we practice together every day. each other since we were like 5 years old.
And
So we've always
and
been
we hit
friends.
over the summer too. So
Oh, yeah.
You're both seniors. Did you have that pressure of this might be our last match today, or what were you thinking going in?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's just really good to end on a senior year like this. We've never even gone before, so it feels really good.
How about you, Hannah?
I think it's a big accomplishment being like senior year and actually being able to go to state and basically like having the chance to go and play higher at the wilderness.
Did you guys, when the season started, I'll start with you, Katie, was state something you thought you were, obviously you're aiming for it, was it something you thought was in your future?
I definitely didn't. It's not like I didn't have confidence in this, but our team took a major hit, losing our 1 and 2, and we had a bunch of girls that had never even been on varsity before. So I just, it's much a question mark, like, how good is our team going to be this year?
Hannah, you've got now team sectionals coming up on Saturday. How do you turn it around and get ready for that?
I think we just need to keep the momentum going and just stay positive through it. And like Katie and I might not play together, and I might play with Carly, so I know I just gotta adjust and like keep the same strategy that Katie and I do. Just come together and talk about what we need to do, and I think it'll be good and good practice, getting better and going on.
What are you looking forward to the most about state, either one of you?
I think just trying to compete and see like how far we can go.
Yeah, new teams.
All right, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that performance, Hannah Morgan and Katie Stiles. Great performance to get to the state tennis tournament. Next performance I want to talk about is the Lady Tigers. This is the first time I've given one of these performance mentions to a team, and I thought they deserved it for what they did against Stratford. Stratford had won 123 consecutive games coming into their game in the pink and white tournament against Republic, and Republic ended that streak. It was a thriller, and I just wanted to let you watch a little bit of the ending of that one. Delaney Smith had a lot of energy left after that. She was jumping up and down quite a bit. I guess that they earned it after beating Stratford and ending that multi-season winning streak for the Lady Indians. Next performance I want to mention is Cayman Beckemeyer, another Lady Tiger, and she had, in the game against Jefferson City that we saw earlier with the 13 three-pointers, she had a monster game, 29 points against the number 3 team in the state, and there was nothing they could do to stop her in the first half, and I've got some highlights of that performance here. Great performance by Cayman Beckemeyer, and she had some big games before that, but that was the biggest to date and kind of a coming out party for her. And another big game on the boys' side was Drew McMillan. He had 31 points, a career high against Neosho, and it was sort of the same thing. He was on fire. There wasn't much they could do to stop him, and here's what that looked like.
McMillan bounces it down to Rexroth, double team, now to McMillan, a floater in the lane, up over the front eye. Tigers on the run. McMillan is going to take it all the way, up off the glass and in. And Looney races up court to Askew, and he hits McMillan for 3, and it's good. Start for Republic against a team that has played very well, and a great back cut over part of the screen. Only 3 or 4 rows of kids, but they are Rowdy, and a three by McMillan from downtown. And it's back down to 5, 26-21. McMillan lays it up, reverse layup with the left hand. Look at the action, sponsored by Vision Health Eye Center. Committed to helping you get a better look at everything. The three by McMillan is good off the back foot. He hit it. He's got 9 points. Brody, the 5'11 junior, a long three by McMillan. Layups by Neosho on the same possession. And the Tigers to McMillan in the corner, and he missed one. No, he got it! He even got that one to go. He's got 25. Rexroad has 11. In the lane, McMillan pulls up and floats it in. Had it knocked away. Threw it to Askew. Now they get it to McMillan. He's going to drive around his man and take it to the basket and lay it in.
So a great performance by Drew McMillan, and he joins a lot of other great performances over the past year. But there was only one winner, and we haven't talked about him yet, and that is the performance of Lucas Hayes. I mentioned his game against Ozark earlier. Ozark, another team that did not have an answer for a Republic player, and in this case it was Lucas Hayes, and we've got some highlights from that one. I mentioned earlier that you'd see Hayden Moody and the rest of the offensive line at work. This is where you're going to see, especially early, the holes open up for Lucas Hayes, but he took advantage, and his 518-yard and 7-touchdown performance against Ozark is our 2020 Performance of the Year, and here it is.
So 1st and 5 for the Tigers. Things going swimmingly so far, and Hayes is going to keep it, and what a hole.
Oh my gosh.
That was
untouched.
Easier than easy into the end zone for a touchdown, and it's 6-0 Tigers. Hayes is going to keep it. Huge hole on the right side. He's going to waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers, and another touchdown for Lucas Hayes. It's 13-0, and that's 21 touchdowns this year for Lucas Hayes. Empty backfield. Hayes is going to keep it. He's going to go in again. Another touchdown for Hayes.
Untouched.
3 on the night, 22 on the year. Hayes keeps it. Much running room again. Hayes is going to throw it, and just a little pitch out to Sigmund, who is tackled short of the first down marker.
What do you think they'll do? You think they'll try to just go right up the middle, or do you think they'll try to bounce it outside and go outside of the tackles?
I think Hayes is going to keep it. He's going to go right there on the right side. Oh, he went to the left side. Sorry, he's in. Touchdown, Republic. 4 minutes left exactly. And Hayes is in the end zone for the 4th time tonight. Big 4th down play for the offense here. Hayes over the middle, hits Porter, and into the end zone on 4th down and 9. The Tigers convert. Touchdown. And that time, Hayes is going to keep it. He's got a gap. He takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Republic. Sterling in motion. Fake the handoff to him. Throw it over the middle. Complete. And a touchdown to Landon Porter with 35 seconds left.
So congratulations to Lucas Hayes. He is our winner of the 2020 Performance of the Year for his performance against Ozark. And now that brings us to the end of the program where we name our Tiger and Lady Tiger of the Year. If you've checked out the magazine that popped onto the website over the last hour or so, you probably know who won this, but we're going to start off with the Tiger of the Year, and it is Jonathan O'Connell. He is a 2-time winner of the Performance of the Year for his runner-up finishes in Class 3 at the state wrestling tournament. Did that the last 2 years, and this year he wins the big one, Tiger of the Year. He at one point won 50 matches in a row this season, and just an outstanding season. He has been a leader of the wrestling team, and you can read in the magazine what Jerry Morton and Brad Swope have to say about him and his leadership and what he's meant to the program. But congratulations to Jonathan O'Connell, our Tiger of the Year. And our Lady Tiger of the Year is Caitlin Ragsdale. Caitlin was an all-state softball player. She contributed to the Lady Tigers basketball team. She would have run track and been a triple threat, And so she would have competed in 3 sports and had a decent opportunity to qualify for the state track meet as well if she had stayed healthy and run well in the spring. And her contributions to the softball program, the basketball program, and in other seasons, the track program made her a good choice for Lady Tiger of the Year. So congratulations to Caitlin Ragsdale, our Lady Tiger of the Year, and you can read about her in this latest issue of the magazine that's online now. And we're going to wrap it up with a little video. I always do this kind of at the end of the program. I've got some old photos of the Tiger and Lady Tiger of the Year. And here is our tribute to Jonathan O'Connell and Caitlin Ragsdale. Congratulations again to Jonathan O'Connell, to Caitlin Ragsdale, and to all of our winners as we recognize some of the best from the past year. It was not the year we expected, especially the way it ended, but some great moments, some great performances, and congratulations to everyone, and thank you to all of you for following along, not just tonight, but throughout the season. Thanks to the players and the coaches for contributing and for helping make this possible, and to our sponsors too, who throughout the year have supported Republic Tiger Sports. And I appreciate all of your support, and thank you again for watching tonight. That's going to do it for the 2020 Republic Tiger Sports Awards. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you